Hello, everyone. This is Lauren Matthias. Please subscribe and hit the like button so you can get these unexpected live streams. I have a very important guest with me right now, somebody that I hope can bring us more insight. I am with, will you pronounce your name? Inan? Inan.
Inan Harsh.
Inan Harsh, also known as Chef Dizzy, as you see there. Inan is a very, very important part of this Moscow homicide investigation because he was a neighbor of the four victims who lived on King Street. And I just want you to share with us what you know. Many also have heard of the neighbor that possibly heard a scream. This is that person that I have with me now. So let everyone know this is going on. We'll try to take some questions as well, but right now I'm going to start with my questions because I have a lot of them. I want to thank you for being here. And first off, I think we should just start by taking us back to that night. The things I've heard in the news from you, Inan, are that it was an unexpectedly quiet night. You wrote about the crime on social media, and share what you remember from that night. Is that a good place for us to start right now?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So, I work about like 10, usually like 9 to 11 hour shifts. So I went to work. I got off around, I think it was around 12 that night. It was kind of like a late close, and I like bullshitted with like a coworker for a little while after work, and then I went home. It was around, I don't know, like 1:30, 2-ish a.m. Is maybe when I got home, maybe and I'm always like kind of hoping that I have like a parking spot right in front of my door when I get there, because like lots of times on campus, there's like parties and like they're pretty full. And so like this time I noticed that like, I don't know, it wasn't really any cars as usual. I was like, cool, I'm gonna get a nice spot right in front. And there was I did, and I saw like this sort of like kind of like decked out like luxury, like I thought it was black SUV, maybe like a Beamer or something, and it had like rims, tinted windows, and I was like, oh, that's like a pretty cool car. And then like coming out, like I noticed some like plates from like Arizona, I want to say, or Montana. There's kind of like it's like I'm always like kind of curious what kind of like different plates are like around and stuff, because usually you just see like Idaho, especially in like my parking lot. And so like I came in, and it was like surprisingly like pretty empty that night. Like none of the houses and like that on those like two streets were having parties, which was like kind of unusual. And then I went home. It's like making some tea, just like doing some contact staff drills, and like stretching. I think I played a game of League, and then I went to bed. And then as I was falling asleep, it usually takes me like 30 minutes to an hour to fall asleep. Like, I don't know, I guess, I dismissed like initially like, one of my neighbors returning hello after me. So I heard like, a car shut, a door shut, and then like, apartment door shut, and like also like a scream. But like, that's like normal. Like I always hear like screaming almost every Saturday night. So like I didn't really like think of it. And so, but like, yeah, just looking back, I was like, I wonder if like, that wasn't just like some drunk dude like screaming, like it's actually like the murder. And yeah, and it was like, it was kind of a trip having like the cops like come on, and like, when knew what happened, they're just like, asking where we were, and we're like, this is weird. Like they're knocking on every single door in our apartment. Like that's never happened before. And then like I went inside and looked on the news, and it was like 4 people stabbed to death. I was like, it's like right across the street. It was like, holy shit. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. When did you hear about it? Was it those knocks on the door? You woke up the next day? Did these knocks on your apartment door
well,
wake up? How did you learn about it?
I was already awake. I was just like woke up a little bit. I was still like drinking coffee, and like the cops knocked on my door, and like after they asked me some questions, like right after they left and started like they were starting to talk to the next door over. I looked on my phone and Googled it and found it pretty much instantly, and that's when I knew. And then I think it was like I don't know a couple days later when we like the names were released and we like found out who it was or whatever.
Okay, that was the question I was going to ask. Like, did you initially know that you knew them at all, or did you just know the
No, actually,
neighbors?
when I first saw it, I saw the picture I saw. I thought it was actually the house, like the next house over. I was like, oh. But then when I found out it was like, the house of the people that I like, I don't want to say I knew them, but I was like, I met them. Um, then I was like, damn. And I don't know, it was kind of sad because actually, like they were super cool. Like I really like my neighbors. Um,
Yeah, you had met them. Is that correct?
yeah.
You'd met Kaylee, and who else had you met?
I think it was Santa and her boyfriend.
Okay. Okay.
And I think there was like some other people there, but I'm really bad with names. So like I think those like I had to like look at online like the faces to try to like remember them because it was just like it was super brief. But yeah, they were super nice. They're super friendly. Like I
Yeah.
don't know,
Yeah.
they're
You
they're,
remember.
they're like the best neighbors you could want.
I have a question here that you mentioned, hearing a lot of sounds typically from the neighbors. Is this because it's highly populated, poorly insulated? Tell us a little bit about the neighborhood, because a lot of us,
I
all
mean,
we see is only on the news. We're trying to grasp what this
I guess
neighborhood
you
is
could
like.
I guess you would say it's kind of like an amphitheater here. It's like they live kind of like down like the hill, and then it's like a big open space. Everything's made of wood for the most part, and like they would have little like gatherings outside on their like in the back door, and so I mean, and then they're like drinking a little bit and Greek row, so it's like yeah, you can usually hear like parties and like just like uh social drinking chatter, like around the block or whatever, like usually on weekends. It's kind of like similar vibe of like what you'd think of like a small downtown city. Like, but yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Frat houses, two fraternity homes probably have a decent amount of parties going on if it's a college
Yeah.
town. Is
And
that?
us the block parties are kind of popular too. Like they'll kind of like like get in big crowds and then kind of like wander around. You know what I mean? Just like go throughout campus and stuff. Not so much lately, but like you go from like sometimes they only stay at a house for like an hour or two, and then they like kind of like wander around and stuff.
That that
I
makes
guess in
sense.
the winter a little bit less, but yeah.
Okay. And are
They
you
were.
oh, go ahead.
Oh,
Yeah, well,
so I
tell
was
me if you're
replying to the
not.
question. They
Yeah,
were
what
at like I want to say 1 ish p.m. 1:30
okay. So
from
shortly
the
after the police were called then, in other words.
yeah they came almost instantly. It was a
Okay.
big deal.
We have another question here. Are you a student? How long have you lived there?
I'm not
Um,
a student. I've been cooking for like 6 years now, 5 years.
okay.
Um, I've lived here off and on for 20.
Great.
What was the last question? I missed it.
Um, let's see. It was, are you familiar with the activities at the house? I assume they mean the crime scene. Like, did you were at their house when you met them, right? I'm referring
No,
to a Reddit
yeah, I read
thing
them.
that
They
you
were
wrote.
actually outside. I never went inside.
Okay.
But no, I didn't. I didn't like. I was in my apartment all night. So
Okay. The night,
uh,
the night of the murders or the crime, you were in your
yeah,
apartment all
I
night.
never really hung out with them. So like, to me they were just like some normal sorority girls that drink every once in a while on the weekends. So
Mhm, mhm. Okay, and, yeah, and when I was asking you about meeting them, I want everybody else to know, and I know, but, you also decided to share an AMA on Reddit recently, which is when I reached out to you, and you did kind of mention meeting them, or at least Kaylee, and maybe you think you might have met Xana and her boyfriend, that would be Ethan. Bringing them a bottle of wine, perhaps? Was that what happened? Or share us can you take us to meeting
yeah, I
and
because
what that was
I
like?
think the person I think I remember most is Kaylee, and Like when I introduced myself, I think she was like the first one I shook hands with. And yeah, I just had like this. It was a pretty nice bottle of wine. I don't remember what kind it was, but it was pretty expensive. And I was cooking with it, and I wasn't gonna finish it. And I was like taking my trash out, so I don't remember why I was outside. And they were just like like chit chatting, drinking a little bit, playing some cool music. And so I like was like went down, and they were like drinking some beer, and I was just like asked her if she wanted this bottle of wine. I wasn't gonna finish this, and they were like, yeah, fuck yeah. And then I was like, yeah. And then I was just introduced them, like the neighbor, like I lived upstairs, and yeah, that was pretty much it. Yeah, they were super super nice and smiley. And that's pretty much all I
Yeah.
remember. I
You
never met
referred
him
to
after that. I
okay.
was like, I always thought about crashing their party sometimes, but I never actually like did it. I usually got my own thing going on.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, you referred to them in the Reddit AMA as beautiful, joyful. I can't remember the other 2 adjectives, but
yeah,
that yeah.
yeah, they seem very cool. My
Yeah.
yeah, and some of my coworkers actually went to high school with them in Coeur d'Alene, so it's like it's a trip for us. So yeah, and they said they're super cool too. So it's crazy that it's like as you think when you think about these people getting stabbed, it's kind of like horrifying because it makes you think that it can happen to anyone, like not just like people who are doing some shit, you know what I mean, like just like normal people every day. And I think that's the really like spooky scary part right now to some people.
Yeah. What's your thought about the luxury SUV now looking back? You probably didn't think too much of it then. In any ideas?
No, not really. It was like it's pretty decked out. I think how like rims, tinted windows. It just looked like a cool car, and that's why I noticed it. But I didn't like, I just assumed it was like one of the, the people's parents. Like a lot of the students here have really rich parents, and they have nice cars. So that's just kind of what it, like seemed like to me. Um, and I don't know. I saw like I think it was a kind of like a deserty. It might have been. It was either like Arizona. It might even been Colorado, but I think or like Montana. And like I saw one of those cars like parked up on the hill of our lot a lot. I'm wondering if it was a white Elantra. I'm thinking back and I can't remember. Like I don't want to say it was or not, but that was the only other car I noticed that didn't seem like someone that lives there. I don't know.
Yeah.
Um, I'm not that observant, but I'm pretty. I'd say more observant than like most people, I guess.
Yeah. Liz is asking, did you know that your coworkers knew them before or after the
No,
murder? You
no. One of the like the next day I went to work. I had one of the dudes talk down and talk to me, and just like asked me how I was doing and talk, and was telling me how like knew some of the people or something, and like it's like, well, that's crazy. But I mean, that's like Coeur d'Alene's pretty local. You know what I mean? So like,
right.
it's not that far off.
Right. And that's where you work then is Coeur d'Alene. Is that
No,
did
I
you say?
work in Moscow. No, I work in
Oh,
Pullman.
you
Sorry.
went to high school with them in Coeur d'Alene and you work in Moscow. That makes
No,
more
I didn't
sense.
go to high school with them. One of my coworkers did. I
Okay.
went to I went to school in Pullman.
Okay. All right. Sleuth Mom, it's good to see you. I want to let people know that for those missing, Sleuth Mom does a wonderful job covering important cases. Thanks for being here with us, Sleuth Mom. There's some audio. I wanted to ask you this because you've come forward and said you may or may not have heard a scream. You're thinking about it now, wondering if it was a party sound you heard, or if it was an actual, scream you heard. There has been so much speculation going on, online and social media. I know you know that. You've been a part of that. We'll talk about that later. But um, there's been some audio making rounds of a scream. And I was just wondering if you could confirm that that was nothing you provided to any media anywhere, because a lot of people are trying
No,
to make connections there.
I didn't hear about it till basically people were telling me and things like this, and I was like, oh, lol. Yeah, no, complete hoax. Yeah,
Okay.
I have nothing to do with it. How
Yeah.
many views has it got?
Uh, it's on multiple channels, so I couldn't even tell you how many views the
Oh
scream
wow.
has received because there's so many different outlets, not official outlets, but
Yeah, I
YouTubers.
didn't record anything. I don't see how I would record something after I hear something unless I was already recording, which I wasn't. So
Yeah. You've mentioned that you're an artist and that you're a chef. Do you ever stay up late doing your craft, working on things? Do you ever hear what's going on around the neighborhood ever? If you're up
Yeah.
late?
I mean, I don't know. No, I guess not. I mean, I usually listen to something, so I mean, I'm usually like zoned in on whatever I'm doing. But I guess it's kind of like on like the parties night. Like the like I don't know. The parties are kind of just like noise to me. So like I hear that, and like every once in a while, like I'll hear like somebody return home really late in the night. But I mean, it's like semi-normal, like 3, 4 a.m. Like that's not that late. People go over to people's houses and they hang out for a long time, and then they come home on the weekends. Like that's just like college life, I feel like. And like sometimes I'll just like listen to some music in my bedroom to like kind of like tune out like anybody who's like super super late or loud. Um, and then sometimes like you'll hear just like people walking down, like I don't know, sometimes yelling, but not like it doesn't happen like I don't know. It's not super super loud, but it's like it's campus, it's noisy. But I mean, it's like you can hear what's going on. I guess sort of like was close vicinity, but yeah, it's usually just noise. Like there's nothing like you want to listen to. I guess it's kind of weird. I guess like you can kind of like our walls are really thin, so like certain places you can hear like certain areas outside or inside, whatever. But I don't know. The place I think you can hear in that neighbor's house, I guess, is like in the house is like the yard. I feel like the yard is the place where you can hear the most things. Like, so if you were gonna hear something that happened at that house, it'd probably be the yard. Like I feel like the sounds inside, I'm guessing, wouldn't carry as much. Just because like again, I think that yard is sort of like almost an amphitheater setup a little bit. It's like it's got the hill and it's like down a little bit, and then above it is like the parking lot and another hill. So it's like I don't know, it's kind of like a meteor like hole in a sense. And so like I think probably like in the middle, the sound probably resonates around.
That makes sense. And you can call me Patches is also saying college towns are just noise sometimes. It's hard to tell what's what. Um, a request for clarification. Back to the SUV one more time that you saw. Can you
I don't
clarify?
think
There is some
so.
confusion in chat. Okay, so you're saying you don't
I don't
think
know
the
though.
SUV he
I
saw
don't.
was
She
Haley's
drove a
car.
Ford. I don't know. Ford's not that luxury to me. I don't think I would have noticed that. I mean, it's a nice car, but I don't think it wouldn't stand out to me. I don't know. It just stood out to me because like I drive kind of a sketchy car, and it's kind of decked out, and it's like I don't know. I noticed like I've always been into like cars with like rims and tinted windows and stuff like that, and this was like one of those cars I'd be like, man, probably if I was younger and rich, I probably would have bought it. So I think that's why it stood out to me. But like, yeah, it
Okay.
just it seemed like either a baller or like somebody's rich parents. That's kind of how I saw it.
Yeah, that makes sense. What's the speculation? Do you talk to neighbors? What are people saying about this? It's been
No,
4
I'm
weeks
a
and there's
hermit.
no
I'm super
updates.
hermit. I don't
Okay.
really talk to anyone. I talk to a few of my really old friends. I hang out with my coworkers sometimes. Um, and most of the time I'm super busy in my crafts. Like I don't know. And I have like I don't know. There's like a girl I hang out with, and that's about it.
Okay. Okay. Um, does it make you nervous at all that this is unsolved? Do you feel
A
nervous?
little bit, yeah.
A little bit?
Just I mean, it's pretty brutal and like I don't know, thought out killing, I guess. Like it's like kind of scary, and it also kind of scary that it just happened to some ordinary people. So I think everyone's a little bit spooked now. You know what I mean? Like, I guess in the city, this shit's like semi-normal or whatever, but like not here. Like I don't know. So I don't know. It's kind of scary that this would happen ever. Like especially in this town. So.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's like you think about it, it's like what kind of protection can you get in these cases? Like you can lock your windows, you can like, put strips and stuff, you can get a gun, but like this dude like went in the house and killed them before they could really react, they grab a gun or whatever and left and not anybody knowing, like that's scary, you know what I mean? So like thinking about people doing that out, especially like on your block is pretty spooky.
Yeah. That absolutely, it is. It's and thank you. Hello from England. We are so sorry to hear such a horrific crime. They said. Thank you so much. Um, have you talked to law enforcement since that first day they came over and asked you if you'd heard anything or where you
Uh,
were?
yeah, I did once.
Once. Did they
Yeah.
come over to the neighborhood again to talk to everyone, or did you go talk to them about
No,
the
I wouldn't.
report? Or?
I just talked to them later.
Okay. Um, anything else you want to tell us about that, or is that a
No,
off
not
the
really.
record thing? Okay.
That's off the record, chef.
Thank you. And by the way, this is a channel where I will ask a lot of questions, but I also respect my guests. For those wondering if something's off the record or you don't ever want to answer, that's all you need to say, and we move on. So thank you. You posted on your Facebook. I'm going here, by the way, to my phone to look at questions that I have written for you, and I'm also getting questions over in chat. While I look, you have mentioned on your own social media pages and even posted some of the proof that you've been getting harassed yourself and feeling the wrath of true crime sleuth and speculation. Can you tell us a little bit about that or what you've been going through?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's kind of, I mean, it's almost hilarious to me that people think I did it, and they're like telling me like, "Yo, you did it," and it's like, I don't know. It's kind of like the equivalent to like flat Earth theory to me when I like read some of these like Reddit conspiracies and shit. Um, I don't know. I've been mostly ignoring it, but try sometimes I read it and it gets to me, but I don't know. It's the other time it's just like it's almost entertaining to me, but it's a little bit scary too. I'm like, what are these people trying to get me? But it's whatever.
Yeah. Cheshire Cat is saying, are there cameras in the area? Do you think anyone might have been able to catch anything that happened?
I
What are your
doubt
thoughts?
very many. No, there's not a lot of thefts or break-ins or murders or really anything that happens here. A lot of people leave their doors unlocked, windows unlocked. It's generally pretty safe. Our our apartment complex didn't even really have lights in like the hallway or cameras until like right after. Then they put up like some motion sensors and stuff. But like there's like for the most part this neighborhood's like pretty dark, and we kind of I don't know, I kind of liked it. You know what I mean? It's like at night, like there's no lights, and you kind of go to sleep really easily. Um, but yeah, I don't think very many people have cameras because they don't really feel unsafe in this neighborhood or whatever. Most people know people too, so it's like whatever. Yeah, it's not a really sketchy neighborhood, like just a bunch of college kids. Yeah,
Right.
I know apparently some of them has had like Dorset neighbors, and I know like, just in the 21st century, a lot of people have like security cameras, so there's like probably some stuff around, but it's like me, like I bought a cam for my car just, in case whatever, but it's been like, like a year and I still haven't put it in my car, so like,
Oh, wow.
like
Yeah.
that's how safe it's like I just like never really felt the need to like actually put it up. But now I'm like, I should definitely put that shit up. I wish I had it up now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
Would people sleep with their doors open in this town? Is that kind of the protocol
I don't
or?
know about that far, but I'm not gonna say it's never happened. I accidentally walked into somebody's house because the door was open, and I was trying to go to a friend's house when I was like 17, and I like opened it up, and it was just like some dude sitting on the couch. I was like, oops. Uh, Shut the
Yeah.
door back to halfway. I was like, oops. Went to the next house. It's like, oh, cool. This is the right one.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Conflicted angel. A lot of people are just asking for confirmation, which I actually really value. As a journalist, I was a television reporter for 10 years. It's really good to hear and see things and then to ask for more confirmation always. So they're asking, is this actually you commenting
yes,
on Reddit doing the AMA? They want to know
yes.
that. Yes, this is him. Thank you. Thank you for answering that. Thank you, Sleuth Mom, for reminding people that this is very true. I'm trying to read everything in chat, and some moderators are helping a bit, but I am missing some things. You can send and post something in a super chat or leave something in comment, but I don't know if we'll have the same guest again. So I'll do my best though to get to your questions. And thank you again for being here. A lot of thank yous are coming through for you being here and coming forward. Um, so, what, Have you heard anything about the alcohol offense at 3 a.m.? Do you know about that? It was behind the Sigma Chi house, and we have body cam footage from that. Do you know anything about that or heard of
I
that?
haven't. It's the first I've heard of it. I don't
Okay.
really pay attention to the media or news really at all. I'm a stick juggler. I kind of in my own world most of the time. Um, but yeah, no. I don't. I'm super hermit. I kind of like. I live like one of the most introverted lives you can imagine. Um, but no, I'm curious though. Tell me about it.
Well, it was, and I already have one correction. Thank you to everyone in chat helping me with these little details. It was on the band field. It was about 3 a.m. There's body cam footage now that has come out from it. It was the morning of the murders. So people are, zeroing in on different things they're seeing in the body cam footage that was released, taken on the band field at 3 a.m. And I know that you sometimes hear things, not always. You say you were asleep all night. What time did you go to bed that night, by the way? Um,
Um, I don't know. I'm probably around like 2:30 to 4 a.m.
okay.
I don't really look at the time after I get at home, so it's all just like an estimate, but that's probably the range, based off of the activities I was doing.
Yeah. One more confirmation having to do with SUVs, but now this is about Kaylee's or some. Can you confirm if there was a black Explorer that was parked there daily? It was parked behind a red Jeep inside the crime scene tape. Everybody was sort
I
of.
don't think it was that one. No. I'm gonna review the footage again, but I don't think it was that one.
Did you
Uh,
see a black Explorer that was parked there daily with crime scene tape around? Or did you notice the vehicles that were
yeah, I
inside the crime scene
think
tape?
so. I think I noticed a lot of like dark SUVs, and I just kind of assumed they were like FBI or police or something. But this was like this. I'm pretty sure this other car was different. And it had out of state plates. That's one of the things I noticed about it. I think this one didn't have out of state. The Ford Explorer, or whatever. I don't think that had out of state plates. I could be wrong, but this one definitely had. It was like I almost want to say it was Utah, honestly, but it was like barrenish. It was nice. It was hard to see, but it was like barren plates, like deserty. It's like Arizona or Utah, Colorado, Montana. It's like mountainy, maybe. I think it might have been mountainy, but yeah. So I only saw two cars that had out of state plates. So
Okay. Julie is asking, genuinely curious. She's not being
oh,
confrontational, and I can
oh
confirm
no, you're
that
good.
because Julie is a very curious person.
Uh,
She's
vaulted
curious.
ceilings.
Why would
Vaulted
an introvert move
ceilings.
to a party town? Go ahead. Sorry.
This is the only place I could afford with vaulted ceilings, so I could juggle at home. Um, I need like at least like 10, 11, 12, 13 foot clearance. So um, it's hard to find. The apartments like that are hard to find anywhere. So and like the ones with vaulted ceilings are usually like luxury places. So you have to pay like a premium for them.
Okay.
So this was cool. I was living in Pullman, so I was like paying a lot, and I had because of my felonies, I couldn't really move anywhere for 7 years. So after 7 years, I instantly moved into the first place available with vaulted ceilings. And this is where I ended up.
Gotcha. I will
And
admit I've been admiring the ceilings in the background. They're beautiful. Those wood
yeah,
ceilings.
pretty dope place.
Yeah. Miss Wales asked, did the dog bark lots or did you know? And I think they're referring to
I did not
Murphy.
know the dog.
Okay.
No, I never met the dog. I didn't know there was a dog until pretty recently, actually. Someone asked me why the dog was spared, and that's the first time I heard about the dog. Um,
Okay. Okay. Um, and did you hear any dogs barking ever? Were dogs typically barking in the
no,
neighborhood or nothing? Not
no,
like,
not really. Not usually. It's usually decently quiet at night. I feel like sometimes I don't know. I usually don't hear a lot of animals, honestly. I feel like if my cat will maybe make a dog bark every once in a while, but that's about it.
yeah. Yeah. Um, again, our deal here is you don't, this is like, consider this like Reddit AMA. You can answer any questions here you want, and you don't have to answer any questions you want. But Jamie is asking, he says, where did it go? Someone is asking, this was not it, but somebody was asking if you wanted to go further. They mentioned you had a felony, and you talked a little bit about this on a Reddit AMA. Do you want to go into that now, or?
I've got 3. Well, I don't have 3 anymore. They're expired, so they're off my record now. As of like 3 years ago. So
Oh,
it's been
okay.
like 10 years. But yeah, I had 3. I had a possession of marijuana. Had a possession of MDMA with intent to deliver, and I had a delivery of MDMA.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that. Oh, and let's see. We lost you for a bit. Are you back? You're
Yeah.
back. Can we hear you? Okay, we can hear you. All right. Thank you, Stephanie B, for reminding everyone that's here to please, if you like these types of interviews, hit like and subscribe. It helps us know what we should continue doing as a channel. And Liz is asking, this is a great question, and I want to take this question a little bit further. She is asking, have there been any normal parties at the Sigma Chi house since the
Nope.
incident, or any parties, or has it been really
No,
quiet
I
since?
haven't. I haven't really noticed anything since then. But I honestly haven't been really I haven't been home as much lately on the weekends, but yeah, it's been pretty quiet, honestly. No, because there's definitely been no parties at that house recently, and I think there was like maybe one, but I can't really remember anything outside of that. It's been pretty tame recently.
Okay. Yeah, has it been quieter around town since this event? Not
Yeah, I
event.
mean,
That
it's
was
also well, also like you have to think about it too, like the cops are
a
everywhere,
horrible
right?
crime.
Like nobody wants to party. Like the cops are like there's like probably like 20 cops parked in like the parking lot next to our neighborhood. Like, and there's like probably like another 5 like in the house like all day. There's always one that's there all night. So it's like I don't think anyone's trying to party with, you know what I mean? Like for whatever reason. So it's kind of funny. I thought they were like, just trying to like speed trap and pull people over for like the first few weeks, but then I realized that they're just nonstop working on this case. So they're always here. But I'm sure people are trying to throw parties with that happening. You know what I mean?
Right. Totally. Liz, thank you. And I want to correct my words. I called what has happened 4 weeks ago an event. What I mean is an absolutely horrendous crime and tragedy. Forgive my sometimes not the best words I use. I don't mean to. Lives can be hard while I'm multitasking with chat. There was a great question from Julie Holden. I don't see it now, but essentially, has the restaurant you work in, without telling us what that restaurant is, has it been quieter? That
No,
might be good.
I mean, people can't stop telling me about the conspiracy theories, and it's actually been providing a little bit of humor in these times, because they're pretty hilarious individuals. So like I don't know, they just keep like making fun of these new conspiracies, and so it's been an interesting time for sure. Um, the
Yeah.
first week it was really quiet. I didn't say like probably like really anything for the first few days. Like I was at work after it happened, but after a few weeks, it's starting to get better. Um, I don't know. The other day I was thinking about it and I was pretty quiet, but we've been trying to like, I don't know. It's best to just try not to think about it, right now. But it's hard also because like we're surrounded by it everywhere. But
Right. Yeah, speaking of speculations, you live in the neighborhood, which means there was somebody that, did this. Do you speculate without naming names? We don't want to name any names or anything or identify people on our channel, but do you ever speculate about who could have possibly done this?
I mean for sure, but no one fits the bill. Honestly, when I think about all my neighbors, I'm just like, no way. Like everyone, I think, even like who might kill them at the slightest inconvenience, is just completely irrational and ridiculous. Like when I think about any like individual personally, like any personal like neighbor, like anyone in this area, I'm just like, there's no way. Like they're all like pretty normal people. They all got their own shit going on. Um, to think of them doing this is just absurd. But
So with
yeah,
that being said, what none of your neighbors fit the bill. What type of person do you think this might have been? What do you think the motive was?
I am looking into the. I don't know if it's true, but someone I was looking into a report that said it was like almost a blunt, heavy object, and a really strong person did it. I'm kind of imagining like maybe like a hunter dude, like some like super mentally ill dude who's maybe experienced with hunting, who has like some type of like farm blunt stabbing object, and just like really waited patiently until everything was really quiet. Like maybe he knew about this weekend was being quiet and then went in there and did it. But I don't know. It's like, it's so bizarre. Like nothing, thinking about, it's hard to think about it because I think the first thing I try to think about is a motive. And that's like, it just draws me into a bunch of blanks. So yeah, but I mean, there's like, there's surrounding areas that have like just have a history of lead poisoning. So like, you
We lost you for a bit, or at least on my end. If you want to I'm going to try to refresh this and see while we can see if we get him back to ask him more questions. Somebody's asking if he was paid for this interview. Absolutely not. This was something I requested, and he willingly did as volunteer. He is not being paid, and Hidden True Crime has never paid for an interview. Nor have we been paid for an interview we've done. Let's see. I'm going to try to remove and bring him back. Nothing. Chef Dizzy, if you can hear me, try refreshing. We'll wait for a little bit longer. I am seeing chats. They are going very, very fast. Stick with me here to see if we might have fully lost him now. But again, we'll wait for a little bit and see if he can't get back on the link. Correct. Thank you, Colette. He was not compensated. He did not barter, and he did not ask for anything in exchange for this interview. And then again, I want to go further. While my husband and I have been doing interviews with News Nation, today I did one with Inside Edition and some other places that haven't aired any interviews. We have never been paid for any interviews we have done. We believe in the journalistic process and all sharing what we know to help. I think we might have genuinely lost him. I'm going to just check my messages to see if he's writing anything, and we'll go from there. With that being said, I don't see any messages from him. I'm going to check one other place. We've been messaging a couple of places. He's not messaging there either. So I think we might have lost him. Perhaps. Oh yeah, some great questions coming in. Perhaps we'll have him on again. Everyone was really respectful and asked great questions. Perhaps he'll join us again. Until then, I want to share that you can follow my husband and I here. We're going to do another Friday night live. We call them hidden hours about the Moscow murders. And we hope for justice. This is a horrendous crime. And the more we learn, the worse it gets. I hope everyone's taking care of their mental health, everyone that's following this, because I'm going to be honest, it's affected mine. In addition to that, there are some wonderful groups to follow. I'm in a lot of them. I want to let you know that one group I really appreciate that's following this case intensely is True Crime Underground. Oh, it starts with Idaho 4, True Crime Underground. That's a Facebook group. They do mini groups for different crimes, and that is a great one to follow, the Idaho 4. And it's a little bit, I think, smaller, so everyone has a voice in there. Let's see. Oh, 1 second. He is messaging. 1 second. Okay. All right. The interview is done. his phone overheated actually, and he doesn't have a webcam, so he simply just can't get back on right now. Everybody, thank you so much, and hit like and subscribe, and we hope to bring more interviews about this case. If you have any suggestions, or if anybody close to the case would like to have a voice, reach out to hiddentruecrime@gmail.com or hiddentruecrimeinfo@gmail.com. Until then, we'll continue following. Again, join my husband, a forensic psychologist, and I live Friday night. Time is yet to be set. Somewhere between 5 and 7 is when we go live. Check for the time. That's when we do our live hidden hours on Friday. Thank you, everyone. Have a great Tuesday. Is it Tuesday already? Have a great Tuesday. We'll see you. Bye-bye.